So thank you so much for joining me today, VP. You are the co-founder, the COO of VerbaFlo. What brought you here today and what inspired you to start VerbaFlo?
Thank you, Gemma. Thank you for having me. So my journey starts. My journey around VerbaFlo actually starts in July 2020, right? Why I'm saying so is because at that time I had received my offer letter to do my MBA at University of Edinburgh. Probably one of the best moments in my life. But with the next few days, this excitement turned into like stress because I had no accommodation and I was very late in the cycle of getting that offer letter. In fact, I think I was the second last person in
Wow.
the whole batch to get the offer letter. That was we are talking about the end of July or so. I had a very tight window to find an accommodation at that time, and I started reaching out to whomever I could find out at that time. And remember that this is the time we are talking about the middle of the COVID, right? Everyone sitting at their home, so obviously
Yeah.
the communication was not that seamless at that point of time.
Yeah.
So, after reaching out to so many people and waiting for about 15, 20 days, literally before I was about to fly, just a week before that, finally I was able to finalize my accommodation where I'm going to stay once I land in Scotland, right? So
Right.
that was one of the initial stressful stories that made me think that this is a problem that should be easily solved, right? But
Yeah.
at that time, I was not trying to solve that problem. The idea was that finish my MBA,
It was just an
find a
idea
find
in your head at the time.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So finish your MBA, find a good job, start working, and then luckily I went into PropTechs sector again. I started working with a company, built the whole operation side, and then saw the same problem coming from the operator side of things, where
Hmm.
we were representing the operators and helping them, and the operators had the same problem that, I mean, there are thousands of inquiries coming on a weekly
Yeah.
basis, and then it's just impossible for their teams because they're also so slammed that it's almost impossible for them to like take care of everything, right?
Yeah.
So that was the another experience which sort of sit on top of what I had already faced. So then on one fine evening in September of 2024, my partner and our CEO now, Sayantan, he reached out to me saying that I'm trying to build something in the PropTech space using the conversational AI. Would you be interested? And he
Yeah.
obviously walked me through the whole journey. And literally, that was the day I put down my papers, served my notice period, and joined him to start VerbaFlo.
Amazing. No, I mean, it's so interesting to hear that obviously you've experienced that pain point on numerous occasions, and that's ultimately what's brought you here today. So I guess it would be great to understand, well, for anyone who might not already know VerbaFlo, how would you describe them? What is your elevator pitch?
Yeah. So VerbaFlo, if you want to simply understand it, it's basically your AI-powered contact center, right?
Hmm.
What that means is, and if I have to like put it in a very polished language, so we call it AI operating system for real estate.
Yeah.
We sit inside a property operator's workflow and handle everything their team currently does manually, which is basically responding to the inquiries, onboarding any new residents, managing maintenance conversations, running any kind of renewal campaigns, and everything in
Yeah.
between, right? So there are 43 different touch points that we have identified in the life cycle of a prospective tenant to the time when they actually become a resident and then they check
Wow.
out of the property, right? So
Yeah.
that is what we do. And currently we are powering about 230,000 units across 10 countries
Wow.
with about more than 40 enterprise customers now. And we had zero
Insane.
churn since the day we launched.
Since 2023 as well.
No, not we launched in February 2024. Sorry, February 2025. So it's only been about 14 months as of today.
Wow, that's insane. That's insane. What a big year for you. How about competition in the UK? What competition are you finding in the UK right now?
So there are some smaller players in the European market working on adjacent problems, and I respect anyone taking on a genuinely difficult challenge because working in the PropTech segment is not that easy. But if I'm being direct,
Mm,
no one in the Europe is doing what we are doing at the depth and scale we are doing at
right.
doing it right now. The most interesting comparison point is actually the US market, where the market is a couple of years ahead of in terms of the
Yes.
AI adoption right now. And there are very well-funded players there who have proved the demand is real and the model works, which means that it gives us confidence and not concerns us because Europe is following the same
Yeah.
trajectory right now, and we are already here, already embedded, already running about 230,000 units. So that
Yeah.
that that gives us a very good confidence that we are on the right track, and we have
Yeah.
done it for the European market, which is a more tough and more fragmented market than the US right now. So so
Yeah.
so that is another edge we have.
Yeah, that's huge. And do you have any clients in the US, or is it mostly been Europe and
Yeah, we do. So we launched our first customer a couple of not couple, I think about a month back.
oh,
Super happy.
congrats. Yeah.
They are in fact making a lot of introductions right now for us in the market.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. Oh, it sounds like exciting times. Well, also it seems that you guys have a pretty clear niche, but how is it unique to other AI platforms? Obviously, there's a lot of things popping up at the moment, and yeah, we're seeing lots of different tools and things. What actually makes you guys unique and different to other AI players?
Yeah. So the one thing which needs I would like to like specifically mention is that we are not a horizontal platform, and there is a very clear differentiation between a horizontal platform and a vertical platform, right? So we are a vertical AI application layer built specifically for the residential real estate, right? We are too specific about that because we want to keep on solving the problems that exist in the market and
Yeah,
not try to focus on multiple things at the same time, right? The
right.
benefit of when you go vertical, you make a choice to go deeper rather than going wide, and
Hmm.
every resource, every product decision, every line of code is built around that one single industry that we understand at a very profound level, right? And here is my honest view on where this is heading. The future belongs to the vertical players. If a horizontal AI company wants to compete in residential real estate, they either would have to build a dedicated team which would keep on
Yeah.
solving the problem specifically for the residential real estate market, which is very expensive and very slow, or they would acquire companies in the vertical AI space. Either way, the
Mm.
vertical market is always going to win in that sense,
Yeah.
right? And the second thing, how we think about is the delivery, right? So we never sell VerbaFlo as a SaaS platform because it is not a SaaS platform, to be honest, right? The reason why I'm saying so is it might not go very well with the investors or the VCs in the market. But to be
Hmm.
honest, if you try to sell it as a SaaS platform, the problem with the real estate players are because of the sheer difference between their sizes as well as the way their operating teams work. There is no one size fit all in this market. There are too many customization, too many different SOPs, too many
Yeah.
different tools being used by all these players that you have to build a solution which is not just a platform, but there is
Yeah.
some element of services attached to it so that whatever customizations they need, you are able to provide that. And that's
Yeah.
where we have done a pretty good job, I think. So
Yeah.
we are not trying to sell it as a point solution. The idea is that there is one intelligent layer that is powered by AI, and then on top of that, we build customizations for our customers, right? So
Yeah.
that means it's a
It's very
bespoke,
specific.
yeah, and it's very configurable. And rather than showing up as a partner, showing up as a vendor, we actually show up as a partner for our customers.
Yeah, it seems it. And I think well, most companies can really relate to that, that if you're really honing in to your customer and exactly what they need, then your product is ultimately going to be a lot more tailored and what they need. So yeah, that's exciting. And I can see how you guys really have a niche there. Um You reached 1.3 million in annual recurring revenue within 8 months of trading, and you've been branded one of the fastest scaling PropTech startups in Europe, which is huge. What other achievements have you had after year one?
Yeah. So I mean, fastest growing PropTech company? Probably yes, because we don't know anyone else managing these many number of units within the first year
Yeah.
of launch. But I think there are a lot of other things that we have done really well, right? So first, being a European company, we were able to enter in the US market within the first year of our launch, and that
Yeah.
too successfully, which was pretty good. I mean, the kind of buzz we have been able to generate in the US market is quite amazing. I mean, I was there last week in Austin for Interface Student Housing Conference, and it was amazing to see people were talking really good things about VerbaFlo, which is always very good to know when people are
Yeah.
talking about a very small company coming from the other side of the pond, and then that's always good to hear about.
Yeah,
The
it's
other thing we are
huge.
yeah, other thing we have done very well is our sales machine is pretty good now. I mean, we are growing we are adding about 30,000 units each month to our portfolio now, and we are on target that we should be able to finish this year by at least 500,000 units in our portfolio.
Mhm.
Uh, Another major thing that is internal, but it is very helpful for company to achieve its goal is that we have been able to put all of our senior leadership team in place now. We have been hiring for some of these roles for about 8 months or so.
Mm.
We were not able to find the right candidates, and now we have been able to. So we closed everything. Now we have got head of Europe, we have got a head of US, chief head of AI, a chief of staff, and a
Yeah.
few other critical roles that we were looking to hire. So, and on top of that, there are a lot of awards that we are being shortlisted for. We have, in fact, already won PropTech co-living award in Barcelona last year, and then
Amazing.
the PropTech solution at Student Housing Conference in Wembley last year also.
Amazing. Well, it's super exciting times, and okay, yeah, looking forward to see what 2026 has for you. How about when it comes to the UK prop tech scene? I'd love to know your thoughts on this, and also Europe as well, given your coverage across EMEA. Talk to me about what you feel is missing in the UK prop tech scene, and then in Europe as well.
Yeah. So I think one is the depth, and second is the honesty of all the SaaS vendors who are trying to sell their solutions, right? So let me start with this, the first one. There are hundreds of PropTech tools in the UK market, but very few actually solve a problem end to end. There are a lot of point solutions. They would keep on. You can implement that for solving one particular problem, but then you have created another problem because you have added one more tool in your system, and you already have a tech stack of 20 tools, and you must now need to manage all those 20 vendors that you are working with, right? So the idea on our side was we don't want to be that solution. So what we did was we started with one single thing, which was communication, and then we kept on building a whole plethora of all the individual point solutions that are right now being used in the residential real estate industry, and now built that whole system. That's why we now call it AI operating system, because it can do a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that is the number one thing. And second thing is honesty about AI. A lot of what gets told as AI in PropTech is glorified automation within a chatbot on the front end. It looks impressive in a demo, but it falls apart in the production environment.
Right.
Right. We have also seen it in the early days when we were trying to build it. At that time, there was some hypothesis with which we went into the market. We found, like, we built our initial product and then we went into the market, but that failed. So we learned quickly from that, and then we kept on pivoting till we found a product that works with all the operators, and now we are able to scale using that. Uh, a lot of these operators have already been burned by these kind of
Yeah.
failing AIs in the production environment. That's why the trust is not there. And I think any new vendor who comes with any kind of AI solution, they need to be very transparent about that, okay, this is going to work and this is what we cannot do. Because
How
AI is
do
not going to do everything for you, but it is going to do
yeah.
a lot of things.
Yeah, and how do you overcome those kind of conversations? Because I mean, I think we can all relate to that. It's just how many products are there and how much value do they actually add? How do you guys actually kind of overcome that and prove to operators that your product does exactly what you're saying it does?
Yeah. So see, the best way of doing that is you need to deliver it at least for a few big customers, and then people start talking about it because then they have
Yeah.
seen exactly what happens, right? So that was our strategy. We delivered it for our first few good big customers. Then it was all about word of mouth and people do, because industry is so small, everyone talks to everyone. So if you are
Yeah.
doing a good job, you always get noticed in the industry, right? Even though US market is quite huge, but everyone still knows because overall the people who are the decision makers, they are like that's a very handful of people in the whole industry across the continent, right? So if you are doing something good, you will always get noticed, and that was the thing that stood out for us. We did pretty good at our product and our service, and rest is the history.
So the product is key here. Having a
It
good
is.
product that actually does
I
the
would say product
business.
and the service. They both matter a lot because for us, the product itself is not worth till the time the service is not there. That's how I put it.
Yeah. Amazing. And let's talk about your journey again. So what's something you thought would be easy when you started out at VerbaFlo that actually turned out to be a bit of a challenge, a bit of a struggle? And yeah, how did you overcome that?
Oh, okay. That's an interesting one. So I think the first thing that we have learned is the enterprise sales speed, right? Right now, all the customers that we tap into, they typically would fall in the enterprise category, right? We knew it would be slow. Uh, we underestimated how slow it would be. That's how I would put it, right? Because large operators have their procurement cycles, legal reviews, IT security assessments, and multiple stakeholders who are going to make the decision. And you want everyone to be saying yes to it. Otherwise, the project won't take off, right? So you can have the best product in the room and still be a 6 month away from signing a contract with them. The good thing is that we overcame it, and we had a very nice sort of a innovative GTM strategy, which was around first, obviously making them talk to our existing customers so that they can get the feedback exactly how quickly can we make it work around. Second thing was offering them the pilots. We took it
Yeah.
on our own cost. We clearly said that it is a no string attached pilot. You don't need to pay for anything. You don't need to pay for any kind of integrations. We will do all the integrations on our cost. If you don't like it, you can switch it off in 1 month or 2 months time. No problem
Yeah.
at all, right? We were very sure that if the customers start using it, they will start loving the product, right? And that is the confident. That is why today across all the more than 30 pilots that we have done till now, there is not even a single customer who would have dropped and said, no, I'm not going to proceed
That's
with you. Everyone
amazing.
has proceeded. And then that gives us more confidence that we'll keep on offering
Yeah.
this pilot to everyone.
Yeah, and I guess the zero churn rate as well just proves that. Yeah. How about market trends and UK legislations? How have they had an impact on VerbaFlo?
I would say in a very good way.
Okay.
Why so? Let me come to that. So, for example, renters' right bill is the big one.
Mhm.
Fundamentally changes the obligations between the operators and the residents. More communication touch point, more documentation, more compliance needs to be done,
Or
right? Which
need for the
means
product.
exactly more need for the product, right? As simple as that, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, there are a lot of concerns around the compliance with the GDPR and like data privacy laws, right? So that is another thing that we have a very strong focus. In fact, the day we launched, we already launched with the trust center, which is very rare to see with any early stage company, because the compliance is not the first thing that you want to work on when you are trying to launch a new startup and you don't have enough money, right? But our focus was that we wanted to make sure that we are compliant in, and we have got all the certification that was required. In fact, we went on top of that and we did multiple penetration testings, as called as VAPTs, and a lot of third party auditing also of the platform, so that we can make sure
Mhm.
that there is no such thing that we are missing out on. And that's what we are very proud of, right? In fact, we keep on getting these compliments from a lot of our customers who have got a very strong data privacy team, and they would say that, okay, for a startup, this is pretty good job that you have done. I mean, we rarely come to see that someone would have done this kind of work on the data and the privacy side of things.
Yeah, and let's talk about internally as well. How would you explain the culture internally, and what do you feel has made it such a success so quickly?
Okay, so there are two keywords, or the two main values that the company has. One is the speed. Speed is
Hmm.
like really critical part to the culture of the company. And second is the rigor. I mean, we will fail. We know that it's a very early stage company. A lot of junior people also working with us, which would make mistake. But the idea is that if you keep on learning, you will be able to deliver it. Like so like Facebook used to have that, right? Break it fast or make it fast, something like that. I don't remember what it was. I mean, we run on quite similar to that value, and the idea is that we want our people to be aware that no problem if you are making a mistake. First, that mistake should not happen on a production environment for any customer. There are
Mm.
testing environments, you can make as many mistakes as you need to, but you also need to be clear that you need to now work on it and try to make sure, one, that doesn't repeat again. Second, try to solve it as soon as possible. So that
Mm.
is like a sort of become the mantra for the whole team across
Yeah.
all the continents. Now we've got team in US, we've got team in Europe, we've got a team in India, the back end, and then
Hmm.
the engineering and the operations team sits in India. So everyone literally is working around this particular
Yeah.
two aspects, and rest everything is falling in place because the company is growing, the culture is pretty amazing, people love working with us. So
Yeah. And I guess just removing that fear around failure as well is making you guys just learn so quickly, and I guess is a testament to how you guys have grown and succeeded so quickly, which is great. How about 2026 plans? What other milestones should we expect from VerbaFlo this year?
oh wow, okay. Few things I won't be able to disclose, but a few more things probably I can, which are also we have shared earlier also in the public domain. For example, we are on a trajectory to hit about 500,000 units by the end of this year. Looking
Hmm.
very good. The year has started very well. The first quarter was
Yeah,
amazing for
so
us, right?
exciting.
Yeah, and the main sort of the North Star metric for the whole business is the number of units that we manage. Because once you start managing the units, we don't worry about the revenue much, and you can even speak to anyone in the industry. Like, we are not much fussy about the revenues at this point of time. If the customer says that, sorry, I don't have like enough budget to be paying for this, we are saying that, okay, no problem. You start using it. Once you have the budget, you then allot some budget for us, or maybe in the next phase or next year, next quarter, whenever you want it,
Yeah,
right? So that approach has worked very well, because then they know that, okay, these are guys are very sure about their product. They're happy to give their product for free for
yeah.
some time, and that gives a lot of credibility to our product and the service.
Hmm.
And then it also brings a lot of loyalty towards the products, which we believe
Yes.
is very key, because otherwise
Yeah,
you will be replaced by some other product coming in the market in next 2 years time, right? so
yeah.
so those are some of the things that we are doing, and few other there are a lot of product related capabilities that we are bringing. One of the very, which I won't be able to disclose more details, but I can give you a little bit of a sort of a teaser on that. So we are building one product which is for the outbound communication. probably one of its kind. We have not seen anything like that built by any company across the
Okay.
world. So that is something we are building. It's almost ready, about to be launched in next 2 to 3 weeks. And in fact, we are already building some customized products around this specific capability for 3 of the large operators in UK. So we are very excited for that. And once that goes live, probably you'll see a lot of
Yeah.
media around that also.
I won't do too much digging aside from that then, but that sounds really exciting. And I can imagine, yeah, I'm kind of building a picture on what that might look like. One last question I always like to ask startups. What advice would you give another startup trying to enter the UK or Europe or US PropTech markets? What would your main bit of advice be?
Makes sense. So I mean, I've been to a few talks recently, specifically for the college students, and this is probably something that always comes up as the last question. I mean, there are three main things that I would tell anyone starting out. One is pick a problem, not a sector, right? Because sector itself can be enormous and vague. You might not know exactly whether you are a right fit for the sector itself or not. But if the problem is something that you have personally faced, then you would be able to find a right solution, and the sector automatically starts to you start fitting in within that particular sector. So that would be
Yeah.
number one. Second is respect the sales cycle, which we have learned the hard way, that enterprise property sales is, I mean, enterprise sales is not like your normal SaaS tools where you just sign in, go and just pay through credit card, and then you sign up. It's not that. Relationships matter a lot. It matters
Mm.
much more than any kind of presentation or any kind of marketing collateral that you can present to them, right? The persons who champion you inside a large operator is worth more than any kind of marketing budget that you can put in, right? So you need to
Yeah.
invest in those relationships, which is something that we have learned in this journey of last 14 months or so. And third, and probably the most one, do not cut corners on the trust. I give you the example about, like, if the
Yeah.
customer is saying that we don't have budget but we like your product, we literally go back and say that, okay, yeah, you start using our product, we'll talk about the budgets whenever you have the budgets, and then you can pay us for anything, right? uh, in the residential property market, I mean, that is our niche. If your product gets something wrong, a real person's home is affected, right? So you need to be very careful about that. So the kind of responsibility that comes with it, that you need to understand that if you are building in this market, you just cannot, like, be making those kind of mistakes. So you need to be very careful about the way you are building your product. So that's where the trust element comes into picture, which is very, very important, I believe.
Yeah, and this is actually so interesting because I don't speak to many companies that really kind of allow that element of trust, that extent of trust with clients, but it's just proving how far that's gone for you guys. And I guess it just makes so much sense. You've said, look, our product works so much, and this is how much we trust that. So go ahead and use it. And then I guess you've got that trust in your product, so you know that it's going to work the way it needs to. And then yeah, it's been the reason that you've got so many enterprise customers on board already. Thanks so much for joining me on the chat today. I really appreciate it.